Deuteronomy 17. And don't sacrifice to God your God an ox or sheep that is defective or has anything at all wrong with it. That's an abomination, an insult to God your God. If you find anyone within the towns that God your God is giving you doing what is wrong in God's eyes, breaking his covenant by going off to worship other gods, bowing down to them, the sun, say, or the moon, or any rebel sky gods, look at the evidence and investigate carefully. If you find that it is true that, in fact, an abomination has been committed in Israel, then you are to take the man or woman who did this evil thing outside of your city gates and stone the man or the woman. Hurl stones at the person until they're dead, but only on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses may a person be put to death. No one may be put to death on the testimony of just 1 witness. The witnesses must throw the first stones in the execution, and then the rest of the community joins in. You have to purge the evil from your community. When matters of justice come up that are too much for you, hard cases regarding homicides, legal disputes, and fights, take them up to the central place of worship that God your God has designated. Bring them to the Levitical priest and the judge who was in the office at the time. Consult them, and they will hand down the decision for you. Then carry out their verdict at the place designated by God your God. Do what they tell you in exactly the way that they tell you. Follow their instructions precisely. Don't leave anything out. Don't add anything. Anyone who presumes to override or twist the decision handed down by the priest or judge who was acting in the presence of God your God is as good as dead. Root him out. Rid Israel of the evil. Everyone will take notice and be impressed. That will put an end to presumptuous behavior. When you enter the land that God your God is giving you, and you take it over and settle down and then say, I'm going to get me a king just like all the nations around me. Well, make sure that you get yourself a king whom God your God chooses. Choose your king from among your kinsmen. Don't take a foreigner, only a kinsman. And make sure that he doesn't build up a war machine, amassing military horses and chariots. He must not send people to Egypt to get more horses because God told you, you'll never go back there again. And make sure he doesn't build up a harem, collecting wives who will divert him from the straight and narrow. And make sure that he doesn't pile up a lot of silver and gold. This is what must be done. When he sits down on the throne of his kingdom, the first thing that he must do is make himself a copy of this revelation on a scroll, copied under the supervision of the Levitical priests. That scroll is to remain at his side at all times. He is to study it every day so that he may learn what it means to fear his God, living in reverent obedience before these rules and regulations by following them. He must not become proud and arrogant, changing the commands at whim to suit himself or making up his own versions. If he reads and learns, he will have a long reign as king in Israel, he and his sons. Chapter 18. The Levitical priests, that's the entire tribe of Levi, they don't get any land inheritance with the rest of Israel. They get the fire gift offerings of God. They will live on that inheritance. But they don't get land inheritance like the rest of their kinsmen. God is their inheritance. This is what the priests get from the people. from any offering of an ox or a sheep, the shoulder, the 2 cheeks, and the stomach. You must also give them the first fruits of your grain, wine, and oil, and the first fleece of your sheep, because God your God has chosen only them and their children out of all of your tribes to be present and to serve always the name of God your God. If a Levite moves from any town in Israel, and he is quite free to move wherever he desires, and he comes to the place that God designates for worship, he may serve there in the name of God, along with all of his brother Levites who are present and serving in the presence of God, and he will get an equal share to eat, even though he has money from the sale of his parents' possessions. When you enter the land that God your God is giving you, don't take on the abominable ways of life of the nations there. Don't you dare sacrifice your son or daughter in the fire. Do not practice divination, sorcery, fortune-telling, witchery, casting spells, holding seances, or channeling with the dead. People who do these things are an abomination to God. Amen. It is because of just such abominable practices that God your God is driving these nations out before you. Be completely loyal to God your God. These nations you're about to run out of the country consort with sorcerers and witches, but not you. God, your God, forbids it. God, your God, is going to raise up a prophet for you. God will raise him up from among your kinsmen, a prophet like me. Listen obediently to him. This is what you asked God, your God, for at Horeb on the day that you were all gathered at the mountain and said, we can't hear any more from God, your God. We can't stand seeing any more fire. We will die. And God said to me, they're right. They've spoken the truth. I'll raise up for them a prophet like you from their kinsmen. I'll tell him what to say, and he will pass on to them everything that I command him. And anyone who won't listen to my words spoken by him, I will hold personally responsible. But any prophet who fakes it, who claims to speak in my name, something I haven't commanded him to say, or speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet must die. You may be wondering among yourselves, well, how can we tell the difference whether it was God who spoke or not? Here's how. If what the prophet spoke in God's name doesn't happen, then obviously God wasn't behind it. The prophet made it up. Forget about him. Amen.